The great chambers of the Galactic Council were quiet, almost too quiet. Thousands of stars glowed through the massive glass walls of the station orbiting the twin suns of Virelon Prime. Inside, leaders from dozens of advanced alien civilizations sat in their floating seats, staring toward the center platform. There, the human delegation waited for the final answer, the decision that would change Earth's future. Ambassador Rhea Carter stood tall, her back straight, hiding the tension in her chest. Behind her stood two more humans, General Marcus Vell and diplomat Arjun Malik. Their expressions were calm, but their eyes moved carefully, reading every shift, every whisper among the council members. They had traveled light years for this moment. Earth had applied for full membership in the Galactic Council after years of diplomatic work, peaceful development, and trade deals. Humanity was ready, or so they believed. A tall, silver-skinned being floated forward. High Counselor Vexari, voice of the Council. His tone was cold, emotionless. After review and analysis, the Council has come to a decision regarding the application from planet Earth and its species, known as humans. He paused, long enough for the entire chamber to hold its breath. The application is denied. The words dropped like a bomb. No applause, no argument, just silence. Rhea blinked, stunned. For a moment, she thought she had misheard. Denied. She repeated, trying to keep her voice steady. Vexari nodded slowly. Yes, the Council has reviewed your species. While we admire your growth, we find your history too violent, your instincts too aggressive. You have not evolved beyond war, division, and pride. But we have changed, Rhea argued. We have built peace across Earth. We have created unity. You still build weapons before hospitals, interrupted another counselor, a large-scaled being with eyes like dark glass. Your art is war. Your strength is destruction. The Council exists to maintain peace. You would bring chaos. Rhea took a deep breath. Then help us grow. Let us learn alongside you. Vexari shook his head. We have already made our decision. Earth will remain a trade participant only. No voting rights, no council access, no fleet recognition. You are not ready. The floating seats turned away. The conversation was over. The humans walked out of the chamber in silence. The long hallway leading back to their ship felt colder now. Diplomat Arjun finally spoke, his voice low. They never planned to let us in. No, General Marcus said. They were always afraid of us. They just made a mistake, Rhea said. Her voice was sharper now, filled with something the Council had tried to ignore. Fire. And they don't even see it yet. Back on Earth, the news spread like a storm. The Council had rejected humanity, again. On screens across every city, in homes and stations, people watched the cold footage of the denial. Some felt sadness, others felt shame, but most felt something else. Anger. Not wild, blind rage, but deep, focused anger. A quiet fury that grew stronger each day. For years, Earth had worked hard to earn a place among the stars. They had solved wars, ended old conflicts, united continents. Generations of effort, crushed in a moment. Earth's leaders gathered in a secret meeting deep beneath the surface of Europa Station. The best minds, generals, scientists, and advisors. Rhea Carter stood at the front, speaking with clarity and calm. We did everything they asked. We followed the rules. We waited, listened, compromised. And they still shut the door. Because they don't want us at the table, said Marcus. They want us on our knees. Rhea nodded. They're not afraid of our violence. They're afraid of our potential. They know that if humanity ever stands equal, we might rise above them. There were murmurs of agreement across the room. So what now? Arjun asked. Do we walk away? No, Rhea said. We walk forward, not begging for their approval, but proving our worth in action. One general leaned forward. You want war. I want truth, she said. "We won't strike first. But if they keep pushing us down, we rise. And when we rise hard." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, not everyone in the council celebrated. A few counselors met in secret, speaking in low voices. "They are dangerous," one said. "They are awakening," said another. "And now that we've rejected them, we may have created what we feared." "Then we must prepare," said Vexari, watching Earth's reaction unfold. "Because when humans feel pain, they change." Back on Earth, change was already happening. Military research programs that had once been slowed by diplomacy were now moving fast. Engineers began designing a new kind of ship, faster, stronger, unlike anything the Council had seen. Intelligence teams began mapping Council weaknesses, and deep in black sites under Mars and Titan, secret weapons long held back were finally being greenlit. But it wasn't just about building weapons. It was about building belief. Every human who watched the broadcast of the rejection felt something shift. A spark. The idea that Earth didn't need approval. It needed purpose. Young cadets at space academies trained harder. Scientists stopped worrying about offending alien ethics boards. Artists created songs, paintings, and films about defiance and dignity. Across every continent, one message spread: we are not less. We are not broken. We are human. And slowly, something started to shift across the stars. On distant planets, alien species who had once followed the Council's orders now started whispering about Earth, about the courage to ask for more, about the fire that hadn't gone out. On mining worlds, workers started wearing Earth-made gear. On pirate ships, human tech was smuggled and respected. And on a cold moon called Thalaris, a quiet rebellion began. Its first symbol was a blue and white flag with a single word: rise. The Council didn't notice it at first. They were too busy watching fleets, watching weapon scans. They didn't see the hearts and minds changing. They didn't see the storm gathering. But Ilara Steele saw it. She wasn't a diplomat. She wasn't a general. Just a captain of a small Earth scout ship assigned to the outer edge of Council territory. She had watched the vote from her ship, then shut the screen and stared into space. "They rejected us," her pilot had said. "No," Ilara had replied. "They just gave us permission." Permission for what? To stop waiting. She turned her ship toward the dark zones, places the Council feared to enter, forgotten sectors, abandoned stations, the edges of the map, because Ilara believed that out there, beyond the borders, was something the Council couldn't control. Something wild, something human, and she would find it. The fire had started. Now it was just waiting for air. The stars above Sector 9 Delta were quiet, but not for long. Captain Ilara Steele's ship, the Dauntless, moved through the dark like a shadow. Her mission wasn't official. Earth Command hadn't approved it. But that didn't matter anymore. After the Council rejected Earth, rules meant very little. Ilara sat in the command chair, eyes locked on the scanner. She wasn't looking for enemies. She was looking for possibilities, something the Council never gave Earth. "Picking up a faint signal," said her pilot, a young engineer named Luca. "Dead language. Looks pre-Council tech." "Is it human?" Ilara asked. "No, but it's old. Might be something the Council didn't clean up." Ilara nodded. "Take us in slow." The signal came from a broken station floating near a dying star. Its metal walls were scared and burned. Lights flickered like ghosts. It had been dead for centuries, left behind after some forgotten war. But now it was waking up. Inside the station, Ilara and her crew found something unexpected: an archive. Dozens of data cores still active, protected by old shielding tech. The files were strange. Maps of Council territory, military plans, and a long-forgotten record of something called the Origin Protocol. "What is this?" Luca whispered, scanning the data. "It's a secret," Ilara said quietly. "A big one. the kind they bury deep. She copied the files and returned to the Dauntless. That night, while her crew slept, she sat alone and read. The Origin Protocol was older than the Council. It spoke of a time before the Alliance, when species fought for control of the galaxy. And buried in the middle was a line that made Ilara's heart race. A failed experiment. Species 47H unstable, violent, uncontrollable, must never be allowed to rise again. She checked the records. Species 47H was Earth, humanity. They hadn't been left out of the Council by accident. They had been hidden on purpose. The next morning, she made a decision. It was time to go back, not to Earth, but to Europa Station, where Rhea Carter and the others were planning humanity's future. Ilara didn't wait for permission. She broke Council travel laws, jumped through restricted space, and dodged patrols. Her ship was small and fast, designed for stealth. After 3 days of deep space travel, the Dauntless landed in secret on the outer hangar of Europa. Inside the station, Rhea, General Marcus, and Arjun were meeting with Earth's inner circle. "We need to focus on defense," Marcus was saying. "The Council could strike any time." Rhea shook her head. "If we hide, they win. We must show strength." That's when the doors opened, and Ilara walked in. Everyone turned. Some reached for weapons. Marcus stood, ready to challenge her. "You weren't called." "I don't care," Ilara said, placing the data chip on the table. "Because what I brought changes everything." They watched the files in silence. The room grew colder with every line. Humanity had been labeled unstable from the beginning. The Council didn't want peace. They wanted control. When the file ended, Rhea looked at Marcus. "They were never going to accept us." "They were afraid of us," Arjun said. "No," Ilara corrected him. "They were afraid of what we'd become if we ever knew the truth." That day, Earth's plan changed. No more asking. No more waiting. No more playing by the Council's rules. It was time to build something new. Ilara was given command of a special unit, Project Phoenix. Their mission: to unite Earth's best minds, tech, and soldiers into one force, a spark that could light a fire big enough to wake the galaxy. Within weeks, Phoenix grew. New ships were built in hidden shipyards on Luna and Mars. AI systems, once locked away, were reactivated. Fighters were trained in zero-gravity combat. Engineers created warp disruptors and stealth drives. Earth wasn't preparing for war. It was preparing for survival. But they weren't alone. Across the stars, whispers of Earth's awakening reached the outer systems. On planets ruled by fear, people began to resist. On trading stations, merchants began flying Earth's symbol. And in a quiet asteroid field, a group of alien smugglers sent a coded message to Earth. "We want in." It was small at first, a few ships, a few volunteers, but it grew fast. Species that had once feared humanity now saw something different: hope, courage, fire. And the Council noticed. They sent scouts, probes, warnings, but Earth didn't stop. Then came the message, a private broadcast from High Counselor Vexari to Rhea Carter. "We see your activities. They violate intergalactic law. End this movement or Earth will face consequences." Rhea replied with only 2 words: "We're ready." But even as Earth prepared for what was coming, something darker moved in the shadows. Deep in Council space, on a hidden station called Kareth Prime, a new project was born. Project Silence. Its mission was simple: to crush Earth before the fire spread. The Council began testing mind control tech. Virus programs that could break into human ships, drones that could erase memories. They weren't just preparing for war. They were preparing to erase humanity from history. But they underestimated the spark. Because back on Earth, a plan was forming. Ilara and the Phoenix team had discovered a weakness in Council communication systems, a way to hijack their signals and send a message across the stars, not just to Earth, but to every planet under the Council's eye. It was dangerous. If caught, the Council would declare open war. But Rhea gave the order anyway. The message was short, simple, and spoken by a child. A 12-year-old girl from Earth, her voice soft but clear. We were rejected. We were called unstable. But we are human, and we rise. Join us, or watch us burn brighter than ever. The message spread like wildfire. Some planets shut it down. Others listened in silence. But a few, just a few, responded. We hear you. We are with you. Let the spark begin. Back on Europa, Rhea stood beside Ilara as more messages came in. Ships offering help, scientists offering data, soldiers offering their lives. It's happening, Ilara whispered. The galaxy is waking up. Rhea nodded, and it started with rejection. They looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Council was planning their next move, but Earth was no longer alone. The spark had begun, and nothing, not fear, not power, not the Council itself, could put it out now. The blackness of space between Earth and Council territory was no longer empty. Quiet movement had begun. Hidden fleets, silent signals, rumors of war. In the command center of the Dauntless, Captain Ilara Steele watched the holomap glow with new markers, red dots showing Council patrols, yellow showing allies, and one flashing orange signal far out near the border. Council supply convoy, Lucas said, tapping the controls. Unescorted, carrying fuel and core tech. If we hit it, Ilara nodded. We send a message. This wasn't just a mission. It was the first real strike. The first blow to a system that had ruled the stars for centuries. Earth wasn't attacking for power. It was striking for freedom, for dignity, for every insult, every dismissal, every lie. She turned to her crew. Ready the Phoenix Wing. We fly at dawn. Across the hidden bases of Mars and Europa, Project Phoenix began to move. 6 ships, cloaked in stealth fields, loaded with EMP torpedoes and disruptor charges. They weren't built for long battles. They were built to hit fast, hit hard, and vanish. The mission was called Operation Ember. As they neared the convoy, the darkness of space seemed heavier. The stars watched in silence. The Council ships, massive, slow, and proud, moved in a straight line. No escort ships, no alarms. They weren't afraid. They didn't expect humans to come this far. That was their mistake. Ilara gave the order. Attack. In an instant, Earth's ships shot forward, weapons locked. EMP torpedoes flew through space and hit the Council vessels with perfect precision. Lights on the convoy dimmed. Engines died. The ships floated, blind and helpless. Then came the second wave. Human boarding teams stormed in, quick, efficient, silent. They disabled systems, copied tech, and left messages painted on walls in bold letters. We are not weak. We are not broken. We are coming. Within 20 minutes, the operation was over. The humans vanished into the dark. The Council didn't even know who had hit them, not at first. But Ilara made sure they'd find out. She sent a data burst directly to Vexeri's office. It had one video file. The convoy, drifting in silence, with Earth's flag glowing bright on the hull. Back on Earth, the news was celebrated. For the first time in decades, people felt proud again. Songs were written. Streets filled with cheering. Even children in distant colonies wore flight jackets, pretending to be Phoenix pilots. But it wasn't just humans who were watching. On the edge of Council territory, a small mining colony named Zevar Prime received the footage. The workers, mostly alien species forced to live under Council law, watched in stunned silence. Then, slowly, one by one, they stood. We thought they were just stories, one whispered. Humans, said another. They're real, and they're fighting back. Soon, across planets and moons, The image of Earth's flag on the Council ship began to spread, a symbol of resistance, of courage. But not everyone was cheering. In the Council chambers, panic grew. This was an act of war, a red-skinned counselor roared. They've declared themselves enemies of peace. High Counselor Vexeri sat still, watching the video again. They were not supposed to rise. They were supposed to stay under control. They're more dangerous than we feared, someone whispered. They are more united than we expected, Vexeri said coldly. We must respond. The Council didn't wait. They sent out Project Silence, the secret force they'd been building in the shadows. Not just warships, but virus drones, mind scanners, weaponized AI designed to twist thoughts and corrupt machines. Their first target, a human listening post on Titan's edge. No warning, no mercy. The station was dark within minutes. Systems fried, defenses useless. The only message that escaped was a simple scream through static. They found us. Back on the Dauntless, Ilara received the distress call. She slammed her fist against the console. They hit Titan. 60 lives lost. Luca looked up, pale. What do? We do what humans always do, she said. We adapt. The next day, Phoenix teams were outfitted with new tech, resistance fields, signal blockers, and counter-AI. Earth wasn't just fighting with ships anymore. It was fighting with minds, with strategy, with fire. And they weren't alone. A message arrived from the outer system, from Zevar Prime. A voice, deep and shaky, played on repeat. We are not human, but we are with you. We have miners, freighters, tech. Give us purpose. Ilara smiled. It's starting, she said. Within days, ships from alien colonies began joining Earth's hidden fleet. Some brought supplies. Others brought blueprints. A few even brought weapons stolen from the Council's own armories. The rebellion was growing. And the Council was afraid. But fear made them cruel. They ordered public punishments on worlds that supported Earth, destroyed crops, shut down power, spread lies through news broadcasts. Earth is a virus. Humans will bring ruin. Do not trust them. But the more they tried to silence the truth, the louder it became. A second strike was planned. Operation Torchlight. A coordinated attack on a Council data hub, deep inside their core systems. This time, Earth wouldn't just strike. It would break something. Ilara gathered her team. We hit them where it hurts. Their knowledge. The hub controlled records, surveillance, and communication across 300 systems. It was protected by elite guard fleets. Getting close would be suicide. But Phoenix had a plan. Using stolen ID codes and stealth drives, they disguised their ships as a Council tech convoy. They floated right past enemy patrols. Then, just before docking, they unleashed a virus built by human programmers. Fast, ruthless, impossible to trace. It tore through the hub's systems in seconds. Files vanished. Surveillance feeds went black. Entire planets lost contact with the Council. And then came the final blow. A message broadcast on every frequency. You rejected us. You feared us. Now, you hear us. This is Earth. And this is just the beginning. The Council's network crumbled. Panic spread like fire. On Zevar Prime, the Council governor was overthrown. On Thalaris, a Council-controlled prison was liberated. On Earth, people danced in the streets. And in the heart of the Council, Vexeri stood in silence, watching stars blink out on his map. For the first time, he looked unsure. They were supposed to be beneath us, he said quietly. But now, they're everywhere. In the shadows of the galaxy, the spark had become a flame. And no one could stop it now. The Council's control had never been questioned. For over 500 years, their power had stretched across the galaxy like an iron net, strong, invisible, and unbreakable. Until now. After the second strike, everything changed. Thousands of systems lost communication. Data hubs crashed. Patrol routes vanished from memory, and on dozens of worlds, the Council's banners were pulled down, replaced by something new. A blue and white flag with a single word: humanity. On distant moons, workers who had been silent for generations stood up. On mining planets, machines once used for digging were now rebuilt as weapons. Even traders, pirates, and outcasts whispered the same words in backroom meetings and hidden halls. Earth fights back. Maybe we should too. In the skies above Europa, Rhea Carter stood on the bridge of the new Earth command ship, Liberty One. She watched ships coming in from every direction. Not just human ships, but vessels with alien markings, old pirate flags, civilian transports turned into war-ready cruisers. "What am I looking at?" she asked quietly. Her advisor, Admiral Solis, smiled. Volunteers. Hundreds of ships now flew under Earth's banner. Some were old, some were barely armed, but every single one came with a message. We believe in the fire. But not everyone welcomed the change. Inside the Council's central station on Virelon Prime, chaos had taken root. Councilors argued, shouted, pointed fingers. "They've infected the outer systems," one shouted. "They're turning our allies against us. This is war, and we're losing." High Councilor Vexeri stood at the center of it all, face calm, but eyes burning. He raised one long hand, and silence returned. "This is not a war," he said. "It is an infection, one we let grow by ignoring the truth." "Then what do we do?" asked a nervous voice. "We burn it out." And so, the Council passed a secret order. Initiate Protocol Blockwind. They would use it to wipe out entire colonies believed to support Earth. No warnings, no trials, just silence. The first target was a planet called Xerath 4, a small farming world where humans and aliens lived side by side. It had no weapons, no ships, only people trying to live free. The attack came without warning. Council ships dropped fire from the sky. Cities were turned to ash. Communications were blocked. No messages got out, except one. A small, encrypted burst. One voice. A young girl, crying. "We didn't fight. Why are they doing this?" The message reached Liberty One. Rhea listened in silence. Her hands clenched. General Marcus stepped forward. "That's it. No more holding back." "They want us to retaliate," said Arjun. "They want to paint us as monsters." "They already see us that way," Rhea replied. "Now we show them what real monsters look like when cornered." Ilara Steele was chosen to lead the response. Her mission: take a strike team into the core of Council space, not to destroy, but to reveal. To hack into their private broadcast system and show the galaxy what happened on Xerath 4. She flew with 5 ships, small, fast, and invisible. Every pilot had volunteered. Every one of them knew they might not come back. They reached the edge of Virelon space in 2 days. The plan was risky. Ilara's team slipped into the Council's main media relay station orbiting a gas giant. The security was tight, but Earth's tech was smarter now, cleaner, designed by humans who knew how to bend rules and break systems. Within 1 hour, Ilara stood in front of a Council camera, live on every screen in the galaxy. She spoke with calm fire. "This is not about Earth anymore. This is about truth, about control, about fear. You think we are the danger. You think humanity is the virus." She paused, then played the footage from Xerath 4. Burning cities, screaming children, Council ships firing without mercy. This is what they did to peaceful people, to farmers, to children, and they will keep doing it until you kneel or until you stand. The feed cut off. The team escaped seconds before the station exploded, not by Earth's hands, but by the Council's own self-destruction, trying to hide what they had done. But it was too late. The galaxy had seen the truth. On merchant ships and mining rigs, on pirate bases and peaceful colonies, People watched in silence. And then, one by one, they began to rise. The governor of Iraxis 7 declared independence from the council. The rebels of Kalan 3 sent Earth their weapon caches. Even a rogue council commander defected, bringing with him a heavy destroyer-class warship and a message. I was blind. Not anymore. In just 1 week, Earth's allies grew threefold. But power comes at a cost. The Council activated its last weapon, a fleet known only in whispers, the Void Hammer. It was old, massive, created before most species had ever reached the stars. No one had seen it in centuries. Some thought it was myth. They were wrong. The Void Hammer tore through space like a black storm. No shields, no warnings, just one purpose: to crush whatever stood in the Council's way. Its target was clear: Earth. Rhea Carter called an emergency meeting. "This is not just a ship," she said. "This is their final move. We can't stop that thing." Marcus said. "We don't stop it," Ilara replied. "We outsmart it." They built a trap. Using Earth's new allies, the plan was to draw the Void Hammer into a gravity field near Saturn, where Earth engineers had hidden a series of massive fusion cores beneath the moon's surface. If timed right, the detonation would cripple the ship, or at least slow it down. The plan required perfect coordination. Every ship, every fighter, every signal had to be right. And so, Earth's fleet gathered for the first time. Not just humans, aliens, pirates, smugglers, exiles, scientists, all under one flag, all under one idea. We do not bow. As the Void Hammer entered the system, space itself seemed to tremble. Lights flickered, stars dimmed, even the windless dark felt heavy. The final battle had begun. The Void Hammer moved like a mountain through space. It was old, massive, and unstoppable. Its armor was older than most species. Its weapons could shatter moons. It carried no crew, only machines, old AI programs, and the final will of the Galactic Council: crush Earth. Inside Liberty 1, Rhea Carter stood at the front of the command deck, watching the massive ship approach through the view window. Even from a distance, the Void Hammer looked like a shadow blocking out the stars. "All ships in position," said Admiral Solas. His voice was steady, but sweat dripped down his neck. Rhea nodded. "Begin the final sequence. This is it." All across Saturn's orbit, Earth's allies were hidden. Fighters behind moons, mines under ice, stealth drones floating in silence. This wasn't just a battle. It was Earth's last stand. One chance to stop the ancient weapon and prove to the galaxy that humanity would not bow. Not ever again. Captain Ilara Steele, in her fast attack ship, the Dauntless, flew at the front of the strike wave. Her face was calm, her fingers tight on the controls. Behind her flew hundreds of ships. Fighters from Earth, warships from alien allies, freighters turned into bombers. Together, they looked small compared to the Void Hammer. But they had one advantage. They had fire. The first phase began. Ilara and her squadron hit the Void Hammer's shields with everything they had: EMP blasts, hacking spikes, kinetic rounds. The Void Hammer barely slowed, but that was the plan. They were buying time, drawing it in closer, closer to Saturn, closer to the trap. Inside one of Saturn's smaller moons, engineers activated the fusion cores. These weren't weapons. They were planetary engines meant for terraforming. But today, they would be used for something far more powerful: a single massive blast to pull the hammer off course and weaken it just enough. "Power building," said Luca, from the moon base. "Wait for the signal," came Rhea's voice through the comms. Not yet. The Void Hammer launched its first strike. A single beam of dark energy hit one of Earth's cruisers. The ship exploded instantly. No debris, just light. And then nothing. More followed. Ships burned. Fighters vanished. Even Ilara's squadron lost 2 wings. Still, they pushed forward. Because humanity didn't run. They adapted. They endured. They fought. Now, Rhea shouted. The fusion cores detonated. A wave of force rippled across space, grabbing the void hammer like a giant invisible hand. Its path shifted. Not much, just a few degrees, but enough. Enough for Phase 2. From the shadows of Saturn's rings, massive railguns activated, built secretly by Earth's best engineers, powered by stolen council tech and alien cores. They fired. 1, 2, 3. Massive slugs hit the hammer side. Its shields flared, cracked, and then broke. The galaxy held its breath. Ilara's team flew through the opening. Inside the hammer, ancient systems woke up. Defense turrets, drone interceptors, automated traps. But humans weren't alone. An alien squadron from Zevar Prime flew in behind Ilara. Skilled, fierce, angry. They had seen what the Council had done to peaceful worlds. Now they brought revenge. Together, they fought through the hammer's insides. Narrow tunnels, blinding sparks, drone swarms, but nothing could stop the fire now. They'd reached the core, a black sphere spinning with energy. One of Earth's engineers, Dr. Yara Singh, had come along just for this moment. She placed the device, a quantum disruptor built from the stolen Origin Protocol data. It wouldn't just destroy the core. It would erase the hammer's AI from existence. As she activated the device, a final message played from the hammer's system. Humanity cannot be trusted. Humanity cannot lead. Humanity must not rise. Dr. Singh looked at Ilara and smiled. Too late. She triggered the device. The core cracked. Outside, lights across the hammer went dark. And then, it exploded. Not in fire, but in light. A silent, blinding wave spread across the sky. The hammer was gone. The most powerful ship in the galaxy turned to dust by the species they once called unstable. Liberty One picked up the signal. Cheers erupted. On Earth, people flooded the streets. On rebel worlds, flags were raised. And in the council chambers, silence. High Counselor Vexari watched the newsfeed. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he turned to the others. We tried to control them, but we made them stronger. They will come for us now, one counselor whispered. No, said another. They don't need to. The galaxy is already theirs. Because across the stars, one truth had become clear. Earth was not a child to be guided. Earth was not a threat to be feared. Earth was a fire. And now it was spreading. Weeks later, a new meeting was called. Not by the Council, but by Earth. Held on neutral ground, on a station rebuilt over the ruins of a Council world, leaders from across the galaxy arrived. Old enemies, new allies, free peoples. At the center, Rhea Carter stood tall. Some of you still fear us, she said. We understand. We've made mistakes. We've learned. But we are not what they said we were. We are more. We do not want control. We do not want to rule. But we will never kneel again. Not to fear. Not to pride. Not to power. Around the room, beings from dozens of species nodded. Ilara stood beside her, watching. Not smiling. Just proud. Humanity had been rejected. But in that rejection, they had found their strength. The galaxy had tried to silence Earth. Instead, it had set Earth free.